what comes after postmodernism. So if Thomas Pynchon's gone, are we now in some new era? What does come after postmodernism? What do you think?
Yeah, it's like, what does it mean when the coolest, newest thing, postmodernism becomes the thing you grew up with? It's like, what does it mean almost when you are born too late? Umberto Eco has this great definition of postmodernism, and he's a kind of postmodernist, I suppose. Mm-hmm. And he says basically, like, postmodernism is not just the time period that we think of, but it's a tendency that many cultures develop when the desire to feel certain things outlives the ability to express them sincerely, right? When you have this feeling that, like, everything's been done and everything's been said, and yet people keep being born and they keep wanting to say and do those things, and yet you can't do it sincerely because it sounds like a cliche. Right. His example is like, a man wants to say, "I love you madly," to a woman, but he can't say it because it's a line from a romance novel. Right. So all he can say is, as a romance novel would say, "I love you madly." And then the woman understands that he really means it, but he also understands that she's jaded by having heard it a million times before. Right. And that's sort of the nature of postmodernism when it's done well, is that it's ironic and serious, and that it's, and Pynchon does this all the time. Take something like Against the Day, which is so based on, like, Hardy Boys and these kinds of kids' adventure, swashbuckling, ballooning, kind of like Tintin and stuff like that. And, like, we still want to be swept away. We still want to feel that. But if you just do it straight, it feels cheap, right? Because it is. You're just referring to something that's already been done. So you have to get to this meta level where you're referring to the fact that you're referring to the fact that it's already been done. Yeah. But if you do it well, that starts to collapse and you actually enjoy it. And a lot of postmodernism is not enjoyable. A lot of it is cynical, but the things that are actually enjoyable have this element of, like, genuine sincerity. Like David Lynch is another good example of someone who really is a romantic and really believes in, human connection and transcendence and beauty and love and evil and, these kind of deep feelings, but is expressing it through a lens of infinite kitsch and commercialism and references upon references upon references. But at some point, even that collapses, right? So we're kind of at a point where even doing that doesn't really get you the juice anymore, because even that approach is too familiar.